What's going on, guys? This is Kai Shiro. Welcome back. So we are back with another OCG Metagame tier list video. So on this video, we are going to cover the OCG Metagame tier list for the February 4th week of the January limit regulation this 2024 in OCG. So as usual, this tier list was made by Rai_10Y and was shared by Facebook page of ESDR. So thanks again to them for providing quality OCG content every time. So we have S, A, B, C, and D tier here. So we are going to tackle each deck on every tier on this video. So moving on first, on the lower block, we have D tier Phantom Knights Mechanco. So moving on, Phantom Knights Mechanco is a very hot deck on the OCG format right now. They have gotten traction over the past few days or week in the OCG and they have been doing pretty well since then. And Phantom Knights also with Mechanco are a very versatile deck. It has a very explosive going first nature from the Phantom Knights that can able to set up Apollousa, SP Little Knight, and Fogblade and Bardish for the turn 1 setup of the Phantom Knights, and Mechanco also adds combo pieces for the Phantom Knights to be able to flourish more when going first, and also Mechanco gives dimension for the going second phase of Phantom Knights. Whether they lose the die roll, they have Mechanco to be able to destroy boards and OTK better using the Mechanco engine for this deck. So overall, this is a very flexible deck and versatile one. It can be a really strong deck moving forward, but it's really up in the air whether this deck will eventually go up on this tier list or will just vanish out of nowhere. But for now, this is a very competitive deck on the D tier, and I really do agree with this one. And I think more people will be interested on this deck and began to pick up this deck once more. So yeah, moving on, we have Branded. So Branded has been an evergreen deck on the OCG format. Branded has been here since 2021, since the release of Dawn of Majesty, and they have been a very integral part of the metagame in OCG. And it's no wonder why they are still a very competent deck up until this 2024, because they have gotten a plethora of supports from the Albas storyline, that they have gotten tons of cards that supported the archetype and other archetype related to Branded. So now they are a very complete deck. They have all the tools on the game to make them a very viable choice. But on the flip side, they have gotten worse over the time because they have lost some key cards on their deck, like the Branded Opening and Branded Fusion going into one. So there's a lot of intangibles that happened already for the Branded, but they're still very competent, no? Branded has too much gas, especially on the matchups against Fire King, Snake Eyes, and Snake Eyes. Branded can definitely knock those decks with the sheer powerful gas of this deck, and also the ability to adapt on every format depending on the metagame that they are playing. They can play the Gimmick Lock Puppet that can stun the opponent, and they can still play 60 grass Branded that has a lot of gas as well and a lot of tools to overtake the game when going first. And also the standard mid-range type of Branded that has a lot of hand traps and usual Branded ratios. So overall, Branded is still a very competent deck until this 2024, and I do think that it is still a very nice choice to pick up on the OCG, but I would rather play something else better with more gas than Branded, like something like Fire King, Snake Eyes, of course, and something like Chimera. But yeah, I think Branded is still decent right now. Next, we have Yubel. So this deck was supported from the Phantom Nightmare and the Lede, or the Legacy of Destruction. So Yubel has been a cornerstone of D tier for quite some time already, for the past 2, 3, 4 rather metagame tier list. Yubel have been here on the D tier, and it's no surprise for me because Yubel with Unchained and Fiend supports. So most people call them Fiend Link or Devil Link nowadays, but Yubel is a different beast from that. Yubel has a very good recursion and recovery, and it can really outgrind most decks. And also, Yubel can really have a very resilient gameplay where they don't lose that much on hand traps, and they can still break bards going second. And it's very hard to defeat this deck, to be honest. Once you experience going against Yubel, you will know what I am saying about. And it's very hard to beat this deck, especially when you don't know how to interact with them and how to banish or destroy their proper cards on the get-go. So yeah, this is a very interesting matchup right now, and you should be definitely studying how to beat Yubel, because you never know when is the time that you're going to face one, and it can really be a very tough matchup on this meta. So yeah, moving on the D tier, we have the last deck on the D tier. We have Purely. So Purely has been around since 2022. They have been the best deck on the previous formats, and this deck has won a lot of tournaments, big events on that extent on the OCG metagame scene. This deck has won Duelist Cups and Japan Championship tournaments. So it is already an established deck on the metagame. You cannot doubt the Purely anymore, because they have been successful on the for the most part before. And yeah, I think people are growing tired of the deck already, because they have been playing Purely for a very long time now, and most people are already knowledgeable around the matchup of Purely, and sometimes the board of Purely is not that enough to stop the best decks available on the format right now. So I do think that's the reason why Purely is going down the drain on the tier list, because before they have been a solid B tier on the tier list, but now they are going down for real, and they have been gutted into tier C. Now they are on D tier only. But yeah, I think this is still a respectable deck. It has a lot of rooms for hand traps and tech cards like the Rampal Tufol, and even Summon Limit on the main deck can be really interesting choice for Purely. But yeah, I do think that other decks just got so much better than Purely, and they are still trying to keep up with these powerful decks than ever. So yeah, D tier on Purely, I do agree with this one. Moving on the C tier, we have Chimera Illusionist. So this deck are infinitely better than most decks here on the C tier for me, in my honest opinion. I do rate the deck as a B tier competitive deck on this tier list if I'm going to make this tier list. But yeah, the author have regressed the Chimera into C tier. But this is a very powerful deck. I have saw how powerful this deck is on my experience when I faced this deck on the BLS Normal Monster 2 tournament in the Philippines, and I have lost the matchup against the Chimera Illusionist, because this deck has too much gas, especially if they have Horus Engine on the deck. You can't really stop them from playing the game, to be honest. No matter how many hand traps you throw at them, they can still do something out of nowhere, and I think that's a very huge asset for the deck, to have that attribute, to be very resilient and can still do plays even losing the die roll. I think this deck is very phenomenal, and you should definitely look upon on picking up this deck if you want to surprise people on the format, because many people underrate this Chimera Illusionist on their books. But for me, this is a very powerful deck, and this really a deck that can go against the B tier or S tier even on this tier list. So yeah, Chimera on B tier, or rather C tier, is very agreeable. Next, we have Infernoid, Sinful Spoil, Snake Eyes. So another full-blown gas deck. Yeah, this deck even ditches the hand traps. They have all the cards that can snowball them out of control. Bonfire, Reasoning, Grass, and even the likes of many spell cards like Trust can give them so much edge when going first. So this is a very hard deck to beat as well. Especially, they have a lot of things going on. They have plays from the Snake Eyes, they have plays from the Sinful, and they also have plays from the Infernoid. So it's very hard to choke this deck, to be honest. And you should really be knowledgeable on the playthrough of this deck, especially if you are trying to beat this deck. And yeah, it's very tough call to make decisions against this deck. But yeah, I do think that this deck still suffers from consistency issues, especially if they are playing the 60 version. This deck can brick a lot on that version, and that's the major flaw for the deck, I think. That's the reason why they are not really going far from the meta game, because the deck is inherently bricky, and the decision making that you have for the deck should be on point as well. Whether you start with your Snake Eyes or Sinful or Infernoid, it's really up in the air where to decide on dealing against your opponent. But yeah, this is a very powerful C tier deck for me. Next, we have Salamangreat. So Salamangreat has been another evergreen deck on this tier list. Like Branded, they have been since 2021, and Salamangreat has been here since 2019, 2018. I think. And this deck also won the World Championship from the 2019 from Kuki Kosaka, Salaman Great. And also the matchup on that finals are against the mirror match of Salaman Great from Wang Chaching as well. So this deck has been proven by the time as well, like any other decks here. And Salaman Great got even better from the support from the Pyroxene, I rather the Burning Duelist pack from Soul Burner, and also the Promethean also gave a lot of passages for the Salaman Great to be able to shine on the metagame once again. But yeah, I do think that this is a very powerful mid-range deck, especially they have been playing a lot of cards that complements this deck, like the Kaiser Colosseum, which enables them to stun the opponent using the Raging Phoenix with Kaiser Colosseum. It's pretty much game over for that, and there's not many decks that can play around that, to be honest. And it is a very concerning, to be honest, because when you prepare against decks like Voiceless Voice, Runic, Tenpai, and the Snake Eyes, Sinful Spoils, and Farking, you would be unprepared against decks like Salaman Great that can able to blow you off and out-resource you and OTK you just instantly using their sheer explosiveness when going second. So this is a very hard matchup for most people that are preparing against the other decks on this meta game. So Salaman Great can really have a place on that format for me, especially if people disrespect you and doesn't really expect the matchup against you. You would really surprise them out of nowhere using the Salaman Great. And also Salaman Great is a very versatile deck, can set up multiple negations and interruptions going first, and can also OTK easily using the extra deck package of the Salaman Great when going second. So yeah, I think Salaman Great is a very decent deck to pick up on the C tier. Next we have Pendulum Magician Z-Arc. So this deck is also a very explosive deck, especially when going first. Probably one of the most explosive decks here on this metagame block. And I would rather see Pendulum Magician on the top of C tier, like we are seeing already on this tier list, because they are the top of the cream on this mid-table tier list for me, because this deck has too much resources when going first. It can really set up the most obscure boards on the format and can really overwhelm a lot of people, especially if can go first. But the problem of this deck dwells down on the relevance of anti-spell fragrance on the side deck of many people. Many people are still not throwing their anti-spell on their side deck. It is a very concerning card for the Pendulum Magician, because they are pendulum based monsters. Of course, they would struggle very bad against the anti-spell fragrance, and also the likes of Summon Limit are also there, and Solemn Judgment as well on the side deck. There are a lot of cards on the side deck of many people that can topple the strategy of Pendulum Magician on game 2 and 3. So I think this is a very concerning factor on playing this deck. But nonetheless, this is still a very powerful deck when it can go first, can set up the most powerful boards, and also can play a decent amount of hand traps, can play 9 as well. I think 9 hand traps on the main deck. So you're not really losing too much when going second. So you can really outgrind them on this deck, and can also put up a very decent going second as well, especially when you draw the right cards when going second. So yeah, I think this is a very nice deck on the C tier. Next we have Labyrinth on the B tier, low B tier. So Labyrinth has been on and off on the meta game. On some weeks they look to be a very powerful deck on the A tier, even A tier or B tier, and sometimes they look like garbage and looking like a D tier deck on this meta. But it's very matchup dependent for me. Labyrinth has been a deck that is very matchup dependent. There are some decks that can roll over them, and some decks also loses hard against Labyrinth, and it's a matter of choice whether you build the deck in a hand trap oriented Labyrinth with the Ikea, of course, or you would play the Labyrinth into a more stun and control oriented gameplay of Labyrinth with the Barrier Statue of Dark and Inspector Border and Heavy Trap lineup on this Labyrinth build. So it depends on the pilot, but for me, Labyrinth is still a very respectable deck on the B tier, especially when you're considering the fact that Labyrinth has been here since 2021, and this is still a very competitive deck on the B tier. because they can just really mix and match cards for their trap lineup and floodgate lineup to cater their deck against the format, and they can also slot in hand traps on the main deck to address the major issues on the format. So yeah, this is a very adaptive deck, and it is a very good deck to invest for most people, especially when you don't really want to play the best decks available but you just wanna stay competitive on the format. On this OCG, you can definitely pick up Labyrinth for that cost, because this is a very adaptive deck for a long time already, and they have survived a lot of different formats. They have been there since the Bestials, the Kashtiras, and the Trillaments, and the Fluandries decks, and also the other decks before, like Rescue Ace, Purely. Labyrinth has been here on the meta since then. So yeah, I think this is a very nice pick up on the longevity of the player option right now. Next, we have Melodious, another deck from Lede that got supported from that set, and also this deck has been really powerful on the meta game. Especially people doesn't really know how to stop this deck from snowballing out of control. Once they face this deck, they are really panicking, to be honest. I have seen many people panic against this deck, and even I, when I first the deck, I'm really lost in translation on how to stop this deck, because the decks snowballs for really crazy amounts of card advantages, and interruptions on their board are really hefty to go against. And I think the only chance of breaking the board of this deck was drawing Super Poly or Forbidden Droplet. So yeah, it's very hard to beat the board of this deck when going first. And also Melodious has been an engine for most decks, like the Pendulum Zerk Magician with Melodious Engine, and other Pendulum decks that are running Melodious Engine, and even the fusion decks like Branded Shadal. They have been playing around the engine of the Melodious. So this is a very nice deck to pick up, especially you can definitely use the engine of this deck into other decks, so that you can have more options to play on the format and understand the deck better on this Melodious archetype. So yeah, moving on, we have Fluandris. So Fluandris will be here on very obvious reasons, especially you are playing in a maxi oriented format in the OCG. So Fluandris cocks the maxi. To be honest, they don't care any at all on the maxi, and this is one of the biggest assets of the deck, the ability to play around maxi effectively. You nullify 3 of your cards of your opponent, and you're definitely going to be a competitive deck on this maxi oriented format. And also Fluandris can have good matchups against the best decks, especially you are running graveyard hate cards on the deck like D-Fissure and D-Shifter. Those cards can really destroy the Snake Eyes and Farking decks on this meta. And also Fluandris has been here since 2021, no? This is also an evergreen deck, and they have lost a lot of cards already from the 2021. They have lost the Windbar Statue, the map got into 1, but now they have their map back at 3, and it really worked wonders for the deck, and it made the deck more consistent than ever. Whoever knew that gaining their third map back can really give them a slot on this meta. I never anticipated that as well, and I really disrespected the deck before, because I thought that the deck is very bricky on their own, and putting map back to 3 will do nothing for Fluandris. But I'm mistaken on that take, because Fluandris are kinda gatekeeping the other decks here on the meta, especially when they can stun the opponent and have a good matchup against the deck. For example, Fluandris against Salamangreat, they can really have a better chance against Salamangreat, and also against Purely and Phantom Knights. Fluandris also has the upper hand against them. And also, yeah, I think Fluandris can address most of the matchups here on the meta game. So I think that's factor that can really give them a deserving spot on the B tier. Next, we have Rescue A, Sinful Spoil, Snake Eyes. I really don't agree that Rescue A, Sinful Snake Eyes is a B tier worthy deck right now. I would rather put the deck on high C tier, because I do think that Melodious and Labyrinth are kinda better than Rescue Ace right now. And Rescue Ace has been losing consistency over the time. They have lost copies of Airlifter, Emergency, and also the Sinful and Snake Eyes package are in danger as well from the upcoming ban list. So this deck will get a little bit worse than ever on the following sets or formats. So it is not a really wise choice to pick up Rescue Ace right now because I think the deck will eventually get worse, and most people are already maining cards that can stop the Rescue Ace like Nibiru, and even the likes of their side deck can really topple the Rescue Ace, meaning using Lightning Storms evenly matched on their side deck. It can really hurt the back row set 4 of Turbulence pass of this Rescue Ace. And also, yeah, I think this is not a very good deck to pick up right now. But I do think that this is still a powerful deck on its own. But I think other decks are just better, like Wanderies against Rescue Ace. And then moving on the A tier, we have Voiceless Voice. So Voiceless Voice is a deck that came out of Phantom Nightmare and got supported from Lede as well. And the blessing of the Voiceless Voice is heaven sent for the Voiceless Voice, I think, because it really gave them grind game. They can now outgrind most decks on this format, and I think the Voiceless Voice has also a factor of playing around Maxi effectively. They can play around Maxi now with the blessing, and also your opponent also draws 2 or maximum 3 cards only, sometimes 1 only on Maxi against Voiceless Voice, and it makes the Voiceless Voice very powerful on the OCG because you nullify the Maxi and you still put up a very decent board with Omni Negate, with Negate Summon, and also Destruction from the Authority or Radiance. So this is a very powerful mid-range deck right now, and I would definitely rate a Voiceless Voice higher than Runic on this A tier. But even I think Voiceless Voice is stronger than Tenpai right now. But yeah, Tenpai is really hot on the OCG right now. Tenpai is really powerful on their own, especially a fresh deck from Lede, and most people are invested on the deck. But I still don't think that it is stronger than Voiceless Voice. But yeah, nonetheless, Voiceless Voice is just here on the metagame, just for the fact that this is a very consistent deck, a very resilient one as well, and can set up a very decent board almost 90% of the time. So yeah, moving on, we have Runic. I think people have disrespected the deck once again. They are ditching their Cosmic Cyclones, their back row removals on their side deck in replacement of cards to answer the Snake Eyes and Fire King matchups, and as well as Tenpai. So now people are really put in a tough situation whether they would side against the best decks or they would prepare against Runic, because Runic is a deck that when you underrate the deck and you don't respect the deck, it can really get the best out of you. When Runic can go first, it can deck you out. And also the gain LP of Runic is very cancerous as well on the last 3 turns on the OCG, and it's a very decisive matter on Runic whether this deck would be higher on this tier list or not, because I think the matchup against Runic should be respected at the very least, because Runic will just be there for most people, especially for people who wants to play stun and control all the time. There will be people like that in the OCG scene. No matter what locals are you in, there will be a stun player and control player. So you should definitely have rooms for your side deck to answer the Runic matchup. And if that happens, I think Runic would go down on this tier list, especially if people are prepared against this deck on their side deck. Moving on, next on the A tier, we have a new deck from the Lede or Legacy of Destruction. This offers a variety and a fresh take on the OCG. We have Tenpai, the deck that aims to go second in OTK, and this is a very fresh take on the format because most of the decks on the OCG aims to go first and dominate the game, but Tenpai is different. It is a reactive deck that wants to go second, and I think this is a very interesting deck to look upon because it is still in a developmental phase. Whether people would play the deck in a board breaking go second pure raw version of Tenpai that wants to destroy boards, or play the Tenpai in a more mid-range type of gameplay where they play more hand traps on the main deck rather than board breakers. I think it's still up in the air, but for me, I would rather play the hand trap version because it is more better when going first because you have avenues to stop your opponent using your hand traps using this deck where you play mid-range oriented Tenpai. So yeah, moving on towards the S tier, we have Fire King, Sinful Spoil, Snake Eyes. So this is very bold from Rai_10Y because I would rather see Fire King as the best deck on this format because they have been proven by the bounce of time already. They have won massive events on the previous months on the OCG, and I don't think that Snake Eyes is better than them on the department of resiliency and consistency. I do think that the Kirin from Snake Eyes Fire King is very phenomenal for the deck, and Phoenix as well gives you insane amount of grind game for the deck as well. So I do think that the Fire King variant is a much more better deck than the Snake Eyes. But yeah, I do think that the deck also got fewer representations on this week. That's why Rai_10Y put the deck beside the Snake Eyes on the S tier as the second best deck. So moving on towards the S tier and the best deck on the format, we have Snake Eyes in full. So I think this deck is a very powerful deck if it can go first, of course, because you have Promethean on the graveyard, you have Blue Whale, and you also have tools on the deck like Hit Soul to draw cards, and the Wanted as well gives you a draw, and you have a lot of tools on your extra deck like IP Masquerena and SP Little Knight to annihilate the interactions of your opponent. So this is a very powerful deck when going first, and also the deck can slot in more hand traps than the Fire King version. You have 15 to 18 rooms for hand trap on the Snake Eyes. That's why it offers coverages on the format where you can address more matchup variants on this metagame against your deck. So yeah, that's the deciding factor of Snake Eyes for me because it has more rooms for hand trap on the main deck. And also, people are still arguing whether they play the Snake Eyes into a Synchron line of play where they play Barone, Savage, and the Formula Synchron on the extra deck. But I often see the Link, pure Link variant of this deck. But for me, the Synchron offers more recovery, rather protection on your board because you are now safe from Nibiru for most of the part, and you can also protect your board from board breakers. So yeah, that sums up our metagame tier list for February 4th week on our January limited regulation. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned something from this video. Please like and subscribe this channel so that I can gain 1K subscribers, and we are reaching that milestone already. So once again, thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Peace.